So, coming into a nice comfortable seated position, you may want to sit on a cushion, you may want to sit on the floor, you may want to be cross-legged, or you may prefer to be sitting in rock pose. Rock pose, of course, being really great for your digestion, so choose whichever seated position you want. You can even do this sitting in a chair. And we're going to connect it to our breath. So as you breathe in through your nose, connect to your breath, feel the breath moving through your body, allowing the belly to rise. And as you breathe out, close down your eyes. And just take a moment or two to be still, to turn inwards, and rest your awareness on your breath. Breathing in and out through our nose helps to calm and soothe the nervous system. It activates actually the parasympathetic nervous system because you're activating the lower lobes of your lungs and using all of your lungs, taking us out of the stress response. We tend to breathe quite shallowly when we are in the stress response. So these longer, deeper breaths, activating your parasympathetic nervous system. And then turn your head to look over your shoulder and into the distance over your left shoulder. And keep breathing smoothly. So if we've had a really stressful day, or perhaps we've been really triggered by something, it's a good idea to take some time to reset our vagus nerve. So to bring the autonomic nervous system into balance and alignment, taking us out of the stress response and activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what the vagus nerve does. This practice, the vagus reset, just helps to, it's called autonomic tuning, tuning your autonomic nervous system. And it's great if you can do this practice before you get triggered or stressed. And turn your head to the right. But it's a great one for bringing everything back into balance and alignment after the event, if you've been triggered or you've been stressed. Cortisol can last in your blood for up to 7 hours after you've been triggered. And this practice helps to speed up that process, taking you off the really highly agitated state, high arousal of the stress response, inviting you to step into the rest, feel, restore, digest. This is a great resource. You know, we all get stressed, we all get triggered, we're all having the human experience. You shouldn't beat yourself up if you do get stressed or triggered. Having these resources, you know, in your back pocket, up your sleeve, means that you are resourced and you are resilient and you are capable of overcoming these stresses and these challenges. Move your head back to the centre. Just allow the gaze to move to the left. Keep breathing smoothly. Move the gaze to the right. And then just float your eyes from side to side, looking up at the ceiling. And then just close down your eyes and just notice how you feel. So the more you do this practice, the more you develop that muscle memory, your body, your mind knows what's coming, and it knows as soon as you settle into this posture and start the practice, I know what's going to happen. So it will start to calm and soothe your nervous system and be more effective quicker. So do it for as long as you need to do it. Usually about a minute each side, about 10 breaths each side is usually what's required. So you do 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, and then float your eyes, and you're looking at about 5 minutes worth of practice. So rolling over onto your knees, bring your toes together, extend the arms, forehead on the floor, coming into child's pose. Again, closing down the eyes and turning inwards. This is a really lovely pose for calming and soothing your nervous system, for relieving stress and anxiety and overwhelm. That's going to improve your sleep. This is another wonderful pose that you can do just on its own if you've had a busy or a stressful day. Keep breathing smoothly. Just melting into the pose. Coming up onto your knees and your hands, curling your toes under, coming into downward dog. Walking your dog as you start to stretch and release through your legs. Keep breathing smoothly. Release both feet to the floor. Connect to the palms. As you breathe in, come up onto your tiptoes. Breathe out, bending your knees. Take a breath in as you rest here, and then exhale into plank. Inhale back to downward dog. Exhale, lowering your heels back to the floor. Breathe in, coming up onto your tiptoes. Breathe out, bend the knees. Breathe into this space, take a breath in, and then exhale into plank. Inhale into downward dog. Exhale, release the heels to the floor. Breathe in, coming up onto your tiptoes, bending your knees. Take a breath in. Exhaling into plank. Inhale, coming back into downward dog. Exhale as your heels release to the floor. Take your right leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Press through the heel, toes facing towards the floor. As you breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're going to swing that leg to the top of the mat. Lower the back heel, heel to heel alignment or hip distance apart. Square your hips and your shoulders with the front of the mat and take the arms overhead. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1, channeling your inner warrior, strength, determination, self-assurance, self-confidence. Building that inner resilience, that warrior-like resilience. Exhale, lower the arms to shoulder height. Allow the hips to move into a neutral rotation, coming into Warrior 2. Have a big smile, channel your inner warrior, your spiritual warrior. Keep breathing smoothly. Straightening the legs and turn to the side. Turning your toes slightly inwards. Breathe in, lift up through the sternum, and breathe out, pivot at the hips. Bringing your hands to rest, fingertips facing one another, bringing the crown of the head towards the floor. Coming into PPA, opening up through your inner thighs, your hamstrings, your lower back. This pose is excellent for cooling and calming your mind. Keep breathing smoothly. Bring the hands up onto your hips as you breathe in, calming up with a flat back and turning. So coming into warrior one in the other direction, so just turn and face in the other direction, other leg at the top of the mat, heel to heel alignment, the back foot is on a 45-degree angle. That enables you to get that twist or that squaring of the hips and the shoulders with the front of the mat. If your foot is pointing towards the back of the mat, it's really hard to get that squaring of the hips and the shoulders. Take the arms overhead. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Be mindful of the shoulders. Have a smile. Warrior 2. Sorry, warrior 1. Warrior poses are all about that. Channeling your inner warrior, feeling that strength, that resilience, that resourcefulness. Exhale, lower the arms to shoulder height. Gazing over your middle finger. Keep breathing smoothly. Windmill the hands to the mat is stepping back into downward dog. And flowing through that sequence once again, coming up onto your tiptoes as you breathe in, bending your knees as you breathe out. Take a breath in this pose and an exhale coming into plank. Breathing in, coming into downward dog, and breathe out, lower your heels back towards the mat. Breathe in, come up onto your tiptoes. Breathe out, bend your knees. Taking a breath here, in, exhaling into plank. Inhale into downward dog. Exhale, lower the heels to the floor. Last time, breathe in, coming up onto your tiptoes. Breathe out, bend your knees. Take a breath in. Exhale into plank. Inhale into downward dog. Exhale, lower your heels. And walk your feet and your hands into the center of the mat, taking hold of your elbows, gently rocking from side to side. Massaging your feet on the floor, shifting your weight from foot to foot. Coming into a forward fold, dangling in ragdoll pose, opening up the hamstrings and the lower back. You can allow all your worries, all your stresses, all your strains to flow out through the crown of your head. Release the arms and gently rolling up into Tadasana. And taking a moment or two to feel grounded and centered as you connect to your roots. And shift the weight to your standing leg. And just like the tree, the roots of a tree, keep the root grounded and upright. So your roots are doing the same. You're going to slide your foot to your calf or to your inner thigh, depending on where you are in Virkonasana tree pose. And then breathe in, take the arms overhead. And breathe out, stretch the arms wide like the branches of a tree. Keep breathing smoothly. Feeling that sense, connection, grounding, stability. Exhaling, bringing the foot to the floor. Coming back into Tadasana, back to mountain pose, that sense of stability, strong like a mountain, resilient like a mountain. Have a smile. And shift the weight to the other foot, bringing the heel to the ankle, sliding the foot to the calf, and then bringing the foot to the inner thigh or leaving the foot at the calf, wherever you are in the pose. Just meet yourself wherever you are. Keep breathing smoothly. Breathe in, take the arms overhead. And breathe out, stretch the arms wide like the branches of a tree. Keep breathing smoothly. Release. Hands coming back to centre. Walk the feet slightly wider than hip distance. Breathe in, coming up onto your tiptoes. And breathe out, bring the hands through centre. Elbows on the inside of the knees. Coming into squat pose, yoga squat, opening up through the inner thighs, the outer hips, the lower back. Another really grounding, centering posture. And coming to rest on your bottom. Taking your two peace fingers, wrapping them around the big toe. Breathe in, lift up through the sternum and breathe out. Elbows in front of the lower legs, come down first with a flat back and then roll into it. Keep breathing smoothly. Rolling up. Taking the legs out to the side. Less important how wide the legs are, more important that they're active. But if you are super tight in your hamstrings, you want that tiny micro bend in the knees. Walking the hands as far forward as you can. Coming to rest on your elbows, or you can even rest your head on a bolster, on a cushion. Keep breathing smoothly. Walking the hands back. Bending the legs, placing the feet on the floor and gently roll down one vertebra at a time. Coming to rest on your back. If you're using the block or the cushion, you're going to slide the block underneath the base of your spine, your sacrum, and just resting on the block. Or if you have a bolster, you're going to roll bolster to a point where it supports you as you come into a supported bridge, and just closing down your eyes. Bring your awareness inwards. And just settle into the space, reconnecting with your breath. Keep breathing smoothly. Just become aware if you drift off, caught up with a storyline and down the rabbit hole with it. Don't beat yourself up when you notice that, just gently coming back to the breath, coming back to the present, coming back to this sense of presence. Which is essentially what yoga is all about. Gently rolling the bolster away from you, or taking the block or the cushion away underneath you. Hug your knees into your chest, coming into Apanasana, gently rocking from side to side, massaging the spine, counterposing the back bend. Keep breathing smoothly. And then just releasing, either placing cushions or a bolster underneath your knees, or coming to rest with your knees flat on the floor. That support underneath your knees is really quite nice for the sacrum. It softens the lower back into the mat. So just get into a really lovely, comfortable position. Take a long, smooth breath in through the nose. And as you breathe out with an audible sigh, just closing down the eyes. Allow each part of your body, when I mention it, to soften and release into the ground. Letting go of any tension, any tightness, or bringing a kindful acceptance to whatever you discover. Just surrendering. So bring your awareness to your feet. Soften through your feet, your ankles. Relax and release your shins and your calves, the knees, thighs and hamstrings. Feeling your legs soften, melting into the floor. Relax your hips, pelvis and buttocks. Bring your awareness to your belly, soften your belly, release the lower back. Soften through your ribs and your torso, and your chest and your upper back. Relax and release your shoulders, arms and hands. Softening your throat and neck. Part your jaw. Release any tension in your jaw. Allow your tongue to settle at the top of your mouth, your teeth to gently part. Release between the eyes and around the eyes. Relax your forehead and the crown of your head. And then just melt into the floor. Feeling supported. Knowing you're safe and you're held. And for the next few minutes, just resting here in stillness and in silence so that your body, mind and soul can absorb the benefits of your practice today. Bringing your awareness back to the room, to your body, to your breath. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Extending the arms on the floor. Stretching the whole body, and maybe if you're using a bolster underneath your legs, you want to move that out of the way so you can get a full body stretching on the floor. And when you're ready, rolling over to your favourite side. Taking a couple of breaths of transition. Gently using your hands to guide you, keep your eyes closed, your head hung low. Slowly transition to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart centre. So ladies and gents, as we transition into September, we're reminded this incessant rate of change that we experience in our life. It's one of the only certainties in life is everything changes. So may you welcome these changes feeling resourced and resilient. May you have a wonderful evening. Namaste.